Well, I cannot wait any longer. What do you get when you mix tea with material scraps and you wait? I think this is about 6 days of waiting, and this is how they are now looking. They are still kind of wet, but as I said, Z from Zetster's Lab, I cannot wait any longer. I have been waiting for 7 days. So when I started with my slow stitching and my gratitude journals, I really wanted the old look, and I didn't know how to get it. So I started dyeing cloths, and whenever I find a video or thing that spoke to me, I said, I'm going to try it. I am going to try it. And I love whatever I did, but then I saw this. So you take your little scraps, really small little scraps. It must be cotton or linen, otherwise it's not going to dye. And then you make little bundles. You take 3 or so together. You just make a little bundle randomly. You get some twine, or you can even take one, another piece, and you just make a little, make a little bundle. So that is what I did about a week ago, and I placed them all in this pan and covered it with some tea. I think I used 8 bags of black tea and then 2 cups of boiling water. So you put the bags in the boiling water, you leave it for about I think it was a whole night. It's really very strong. And then you throw it over your little bundles and you just leave it. That's the hardest part, leaving it. You don't look at it. I look with my hands and feel, and no touching. And then the awesome thing is the little pieces that's standing out, they get very dark. I have no idea how this works. I am just over the moon with this idea because it's so simple and yet you get the most beautiful effects. So let me see if I did it correctly. So this was just a piece, ordinary piece of vintage linen or whatever. There is nothing else involved. It's only tea. But what I've learned over my last couple of weeks of dyeing, I've realized you got to let them dry. When you let them dry, this is what happens. Some parts get darker than others. It's not like, when we dye the papers and we just throw them in and then take them out after a while. They're all one color. But this doesn't work like it. This became something like this. And you get all the different, you can see the inside ones, they are lighter. But the outside ones are make all of these kind of marks. So can you imagine hand stitching? Look at this, hand stitching and working with these things. Oh my goodness, isn't this just too gorgeous for words? Look at that. I mean, when I saw this, I saw it on another video. I'll try and find the link, because you know me, when I see something on another video, I share it, because this is not my idea. I am just sharing my journey, my creative journey, and what brings me joy and works for me. And this is really something that I will do again. Look at that little piece. I mean, it's just too gorgeous for words. So I am going to leave mine like this for the whole evening and then let them dry. Keep drying. But this is really what I wanted. From the beginning, I wanted some cloths. This was a whole doily. I thought, I want to see how this one comes out. And just look at that. I mean, this compared to pure white. I think this was different colors and it was really not very nice. So I would never have used it in my project. So I thought, let me dye the whole thing and see. So all of this is just black tea. And this was one of the vintage serviettes. Most of them were broken or not perfect anymore. But just look at that piece there. It is just, I am really over the moon, because when you pick up cloth that's really been in nature for very, very long, they kind of look like this. And this was what I was going for. It's not just one color old. It's these different marks on it. So this is it. I'll put the link below where I found it. And then you can watch that if you want to know exactly how to do it. But look there, these are all pieces. So I actually had to go and sit and find all my linens and cottons that I can tear up a little bit smaller, because I didn't have lots of small pieces. So I went into my cupboard and I looked. Well, let's see this one. And I was just tearing and cutting, making little bundles, and then I just threw over my strong tea. And look at this. So can you imagine this in my art journals, my gratitude journals? I actually wanted to show you the 2 stick gratitude journals that I finished. Yeah, I finished them in 3 days because I just loved working in them. But just a while back, I saw something else somewhere. And then I did that in all 2 of my journals, plus my other one, and now they're all wet. So I cannot show you. So that will have to wait till tomorrow. But this, I am over the moon with. This is exactly what I wanted. With the eco dyeing and stuff, they also came out beautiful and I love it. But this to me is just the best. This was a piece of braiding. And I also tried everything, even things that I thought wasn't really pure cotton and linen. I tried everything. No, I don't have this one in here. So yeah, this is it. Can you believe it? And as I said, what I've also learned is when you just throw tea or anything over your things, bundle them up like this. If you've got a big piece, let it lie in tea for a while, and then you bundle them up and let them dry. And then while they are drying, they make this beautiful marks like that. So you can do a huge piece as well. I've seen that with my acrylic dyeing, all those things that I made. Look at how beautiful the round marks. I don't know how they, I left tea bags. I put my tea bags inside some of the bundles. And that made that beautiful marks. So I am now going to stop, and then I'm going to try, because now I see, and I'm very, very happy. So now I'll be able to wait. I let these dry a little bit more, perhaps. You know, I just put that in as well. Look there. So I'm going to put that somewhere as well. It's now, the sun is going down, but I'm going to let the rest of these dry for another day. And then I'm going to see. This is another doily. Yes, that is that large thing with the round doilies that I cut up. Look how beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. This was a tray cloth that it was painted on. It wasn't embroidered, it was painted. So, but there was a little mess, so I thought, well, I'm never going to use it for that. And another thing I am really learning and forcing myself to do is use what you have to create what you love. What do I need now? I wanted these things because I am now busy with slow stitching and my journals, and I want some old looking pieces of cloth. So I'm just using whatever I have, and I am no longer fretting and thinking, oh, but you know, why do I really want to use it now? What if? No ifs anymore. Listen, this is a piece of what do you call it? Remember the old people when they made the panties? This is what they used. And I mean, now I can use this in my journals. Oh man, it is just too gorgeous for words. So these bundles, they looked exactly like this. And now look at them. So mine are now going to still dry, and then I'm going to start using them. But aren't these just too gorgeous for words? I mean, really, once again, this was serviettes, but they had very bad marks on, and some of them were broken. And now I'm going to use them to create. Because what are we learning? Life happens now. So use what you have now to create what you feel led to create. And as you grow, look at this beautiful one. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous, gorgeous. That is an ordinary piece of white. I don't know where they are. There's too many things. I cannot find them. And this is just another piece of braiding, and voila. So use what you have, what you need. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. As I'm starting to do these things, I think I'm now at my 5th or 6th. Now the dog is here. We're going for their walk now. So I'm just waiting for husband, and most probably he's now waiting for me. But from my first book that I started and my first slow stitching, I cannot tell you how I've grown. I've matured, or I don't know what the words really is, but I can see how I am growing, and my books, how they are changing, and how the most awesome thing is how I am finding out what comes naturally to me and what I really love. And this is really one of the things that I really, really love, is the look of these beautiful. Once again, I don't know if I threw in some turmeric. I don't know. Perhaps it was there, and I know myself, I would have just thrown it in. But as I said, I've done so many things since I did this that I really, really cannot remember exactly what I did. But this, oh, I cannot wait. Now I'll have to make another little book. I am not gonna do anything with them. Now I'm just gonna leave them like this and let them dry further. As I said, the sun is going down, but tomorrow is another day. So I'm gonna leave them because they are still really kind of wet at places. And if they are like this and you dry them like this, they also pulling out water, and then I don't know how, but it works. It's just make beautiful marks while they're drying, because some pieces dry quicker than the others and they leave more, the tea moved to the wet places. I have no idea, but something like that. Well, thank you that I can share another project with you, and I must confess and say that I'll definitely do this again. As soon as I run out of these little cloths and need more cloths that look as if they are very, very old, I'll make more. And as I say, there was about, let me tell you, when I threw the tea over, there was about this much tea in the bottom of this. And they were drinking the tea and, drying and drinking the tea and drying. These were the pieces that was outside. And they were drying, and then they were sucking the tea up. And this morning when I woke up, there were no tea left in this. They were very wet, but the tea were gone. So then I realized now I'm going to put them outside. So this was actually outside, but it's winter. So our sun's not very, very hot. So it really didn't dry a lot. And as I said, I just couldn't wait any longer. I was too excited to see this. But I better now stop, because there's still some left over that I'm going to leave until they are dry as well before I'm going to open them. And then I'm going to see, is there a difference compared to this? But this is easy enough for me. Quick, not quick day-wise. I've waited more than a week to see it, but quick enough to make. You just sit and you make little bundles while the tea is brewing, and you throw it over, and voila, 6 days later, 7 days, this is the end result. What can be nicer than this to slow stitch with? Oh my goodness. Well, love you lots. Is it from Zetster's Lab? And if I can, you can. That's the moral of the story. And I am taking back my box of crayons. You know the story if you're new to my channel. I read somewhere where they said every little child in kindergarten get a huge box of crayons to play with. And you can imagine how we played and how wonderful that was. And then when we get older, they take our crayons away and they substitute that with all these other subjects and things. And all of a sudden, art, you can take art, but then you have to be good enough and blah, blah, blah. And how many of we were. So we got... we didn't feel good enough to go the art route, so we went all the other routes, and now I'm back at that stage where I am now taking back my box of crayons, and I am experimenting, playing, finding my joy, finding out what works for me, what comes naturally, what I love, what makes me come alive, and doing that as much as I can, because we all are looking for peace and joy, but we look for it at the outside when those things are inside of us. So we need to get them flowing and out. And how do we do it? By start doing things that allows us to become peaceful and joyful, and creativity is the key. So I am not saying you're going to enjoy what I am doing. You're going to enjoy different things. So my message is, try new things and start finding out what makes you become peaceful and joyful and glad to be alive. And start doing that. You owe it to yourself. We owe it to ourselves to find out who we really are and what makes us really, truly come alive. Because this is what this realm is about. To start enjoy the abundant life in us. We're born into this realm with the abundant life, but we stifle it with, the things of this world, and you need the rules and regulations and blah, blah, blah. And then when we get to our maturity, we realize there's more to life. Start finding out what makes you come alive. Love you lots, is it from Zetster's Lab? And it's really, really very simple things like this that is making me come alive. Isn't that awesome? Love you lots.